Just give me a second first. Hmm? Yeah. Yeah, am I audible? Am I audible? Welcome to you all. Welcome to the post-test discussion of our test that was for preliminary test series that we are conducting here at Edukemy. So whatever doubts you have, you can write in the comment section so that we can go through all the questions very nicely. So we'll be dealing with all the questions. We'll be dealing with all the questions in through subject wise. That I will be taking your history and political science questions over here to be discussed. So, and we'll keep the discussions very limited to the question and the topics which are there in the question itself. So let us start with the topics of history and political science. So the question here that was asked, 35 number question, provisions of the directive principles of state policy. All the comments are invited. You can write in the comment section about what you feel about the question or the answer. Provisions of the DPSPs, that is the Directive Principles of State Policy, deals with which of the following institutions? Now the question is talking that whatever the articles are there in the DPSP, what are the institutions that are focused in this DPSPs? So Supreme Court, yes, we have. When we talk about the Article 50, that is separation of judiciary from the executive, there we have the Supreme Court. So this is the way in which we have to deal with the answers. So Supreme Court, yes. Panchayati Raj. So when we see Article 49 of the Indian Constitution, Article 49 that deals with the archaeological survey. Archaeological survey. You also have Article 43 that deals with the Khadi and Village Industries Commission. So should promote cottage industry. This is what Article 50 says to you. Then Article 50, as we have talked about, it talks about the state shall take steps to separate the judiciary from the executive. So we see all these questions, all these institutions, the Khadi and Village Industries Commission, the Panchayat Raj institution, Supreme Court, all these are dealt in the DPSPs. Okay. So the answer to this is your 1, 2, 3 and 4. With reference to Parliament's power to reorganize the states, consider the following statement. Prior recommendation, so this is about reorganization of the states. Prior recommendation of the governor of the state is required before contemplating a bill on the reorganization. So prior requirement of the governor not, it is of the president is required. So instead of governor, if it would have been the president, then it would have been the correct option. So this statement is not correct. The law made for the reorganization of any state is not considered to be a constitutional amendment under Article 368 of the Indian Constitution. Yes, this is true. So the second statement is true. Such laws can be passed by ordinary legislation process and requires only a simple majority. So this statement is correct. So the answer to this is only 2. The question here is asking about the preamble of Indian Constitution. Just give me a second. We have to check in the yeah. So yeah, where we were in the question number 30. Yeah, just give me a second. So yeah, question number 26 here talks about, with reference to the Indian freedom struggle, who among the following nationalists were moderates? Now moderates and extremists, these were the two groups in the early phase of the Indian National Congress. So Aurobindo Ghosh, Feroz Shah Mehta, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, Lala Lajpat Rai. So Lala Lajpat Rai was an extremist. We also see Aurobindo Ghosh, who later on retired and he had an ashram in the Porbandar area. He was also an extremist. So Lala Lajpat Rai and Aurobindo Ghosh, they were extremists. So the answer is Feroz Shah Mehta, Gopal Krishna Gokhale. Gopal Krishna Gokhale, who was the president of when the Swadeshi movement started, 1905 Banaras Congress session. Also, when we come to such questions, do keep in mind that the important leaders and the important Congress sessions are very, very important. So the answer to this is 2 and 3 only. So I will be covering your polity, your history questions. So this we have covered. Question number 33, with reference to Indian judiciary. Power of judicial review is vested in which of the following courts? You have Supreme Court and High Court that have been vested with the power of judicial review. And where can we take this this reference of judicial review? If you go to the various articles, Article 32, which empowers the Supreme Court to issue writs for the enforcement of your fundamental rights, then you see the power of judicial review comes from this article. Then again, for High Court, if you go, it has more power than the Supreme Court in way of enforcing the various writs. So Article 226 empowers High Court to issue writs for the enforcement of not only fundamental rights, for also other purpose. So here we see that the power of judicial review is vested in the Supreme Court as well as the High Court. Question number 34 is very easy with regards to oaths and affirmations given in the Schedule 3 of the Indian Constitution. Who among the following takes the oath to defend the Constitution? So defending the Constitution and upholding the Constitution. These are some different things in the oath that these individuals are taking. So you have the president and the governor over here who are taking the oath to defend the Constitution. Provisions of directive principles of state policy deals with which of the following institutions? It is Supreme Court, Panchayat Raj, Archaeological Survey of India, and the Khadi and the village industries. So DPSP, if you go to the various articles in the DPSP, Article 40, where you see the Panchayat Raj, it mandates establishing village panchayats. Also Article 49, Article 43, Article 50, which talks about different elements, such as there should be separation between your judiciary and the executive. So all these 4 statements are correct. With reference to Parliament's power to reorganize the states, this also question we have seen, prior recommendation of not the governor, but it is of the president that is required. So the statement is incorrect. The law made for reorganization of any state is just a simple law. It is not considered under a constitutional amendment under Article 368. So this statement is correct. Which of the following statements about preamble of the Indian Constitution are correct? It is the source of power. It is not the source of power. People, the source of power lies with the people. So it defines the objective of with which the Constitution seeks to establish and promote. Yes, the objective resolutions which was drafted by Pandit Nehru, from here the essence comes, and yes, It defines the objective of the constitution: equality, liberty, fraternity. So everything comes from this preamble. So the answer to this is 2 only. 38. For the first time at this session, now which session we are talking? We are talking about the 1939 Tripuri session. 1939 Tripuri session of the Indian National Congress. For the first time at this session, Subhash Chandra Bose was elected as the president. It was not for the first time. Earlier also, in the Haripura session in 1938, Bose was the president of the Indian National Congress, and there you see from this time, Bose wanted to bring in some kind of a rational change, radical change in the way Indian National Congress was working, but that was opposed, and that is why in 1939 he went away and formed his own forward bloc. This session witnessed the internal strife between Congress members. Yes, it did. Govind Vallabhbhai Pant moved a resolution reiterating Gandhi's leadership at this session. Yes, this too happened in the 1939 Congress session at Tripura. Which of the so this was about the Peshkash. The Peshkash was prevalent in the kingdoms of the medieval India. What was it? It was a tribute to the Mughal state. Peshkash means a tribute. Normally in today's Hindi or Urdu language also we use this word ki Peshkash. It was a tribute to the Mughal king during that time in the medieval time periods. So these words, some of the very important words, key words in the medieval times are very, very important. You have the various departments during the Tughlaq's time, during the Khilji's time, also during this Mughal dynasty time. So in the medieval era, whatever the important terminologies are there, do keep a list of all these keywords, so that when you're in your examination, these keywords are being asked very much. They are asked in the last 2-3 years. With respect to Muhammad bin Tughlaq, so this is MBT. The question is asked. Normally, if you see, why have we been asking this personality base? So if you analyze the trend in history, whatever the questions are coming, you see Akbar, the question is asked on Akbar. So personality places are the few of the issues or themes. You can see that normally the questions are repeating from these themes. So whenever you want to prepare for history, focus on more on personalities and places. So here Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Similarly, when you study this question, also read about Akbar, Feroz Shah Tughlaq, Alauddin Khilji. So he maintained a diplomatic. So the question is asking you about which of these statements are correct. He maintained a diplomatic relation with countries like Egypt, China and Iran. Yes, he did. So this question, so he abolished the excessive and arbitrary tax that was imposed in the Doab region by his father. This statement is not correct. So the option this two becomes wrong. And he set up separate department for agriculture by the name of Diwane-e-Kohi. Yes, this is the correct statement. Now, Ain-e-Akbari, as you have heard, previous questions we have talked about that personalities are very important. The question again here about Akbarnama. So this Akbarnama, this was written by Abu Fazl. Abu Fazl Ain-e-Akbari, which is part of the Akbarnama. Ain-e-Akbari forms the third part of this book. Third part of Akbarnama. So in a way, Akbari was the second part. This statement is incorrect. The first and the second, third part of the Akbarnama gives a detailed historical narrative. This is not correct. Actually, the first book of Akbarnama provides a historical narrative and dealt with the Akbar's ancestors. The second book records the events of Akbar's rule during that time. So we will be moving towards question number 50. 51 is Hornbill, that is 52. Who among the following personalities were associated with Indian sociologist? Very important to read the words very correctly. The question here is asking about Indian sociologist. So this was a monthly that was written by Shyamji Krishna Verma. It was a monthly which was written by Shyamji Krishna Verma, who has started the Indian House. Who has started the Indian House in London. And why? For education of the people in terms of political issues, political awareness, by training this youths in India for political awareness. So in London he has started this, and there you see one of the few personalities who are associated with Indian houses, Vinayak Damodar Savarkar, Madan Lal Dhingra. So Madan Lal Dhingra, who is associated with the killing of Curzon Wily. Savarkar, who was afterwards sent to jail in the conspiracy case of Ananta Kanhere, a student, 17-year student who killed Jackson, Pandit Jackson, the district magistrate of Nasik district in Maharashtra region. So that is why Savarkar was sent to jail, where he wrote many books. So the books are also important of Savarkar. So this is the link you should be establishing when you come towards such a question. So the monthly sociologist, yes, this was started by Shyamji Krishna Verma in London. Consider the following statement with respect to Quit India movement. Quit India movement, previous year question, 2021. The Quit India movement was started on 8th August 1942. So this was the question in 2021 preliminary exam. So see, simple questions have been asked, but you need to read between the lines. Quit India movement was started as a reaction to the failure of cabinet mission. This is wrong. Cabinet mission was in 1946, whereas it was due to the failure of Cripps mission. So this statement is incorrect. There was a series of underground activities to distribute arms and ammunition. Underground activities, you also have the underground radios that was started by Usha Mehta, and different personalities were associated with this underground activities, such as you have J.P. Narayan, who was associated with this underground activity. The movement was opposed by Hindu Mahasabha and Muslim League. Yes, it was opposed. So these two statements are correct, 2 and 3 only. With reference to the Government of India Act of 1919, before moving on to this question, I would advise you that whenever you want to study the Constitutional Act, make a chart and 1909, 1919, 1935. So this way comparatively on all basis. For example, the changes in the central legislature. What changes were made in 1909, 1919, 1935. So this way you can study your various acts. Also changes in the provinces, changes in the number. So number of central legislature, what was there? what was the power that was given to these people in the central legislature, in the province, then about different provisions related to separate electorate, which was started in 1909, right? So this way you can study this. Now the question related, it introduced a separate electorate system. And now the question is talking about 1919, but separate electorate was first given to the Muslim community in 1909. So this statement is incorrect. It introduced provisional diarchy. Yes, it introduced provincial diarchy, where the subjects were now divided into transferred list and reserved list. So these two lists were made in this diarchy. Dadabhai Navroji, he was the first Asian to become a member of the British Parliament. Yes, he was the first Indian to become the member of the British Parliament. He founded the London Indian Society. Yes, he was associated with London Indian Society, and also he was associated with the East India Association. So Dadabhai Navroji, the grand old man of India. The third statement is incorrect. He played a significant role in interpretation of ancient Indian text. This statement is incorrect. So the first two statements are right. And Dadabhai Navroji, he was also the Indian National Congress president. And the important session that happened under his presidency was 1906 Calcutta session of the Indian National Congress, where 4 resolutions, that is Swadeshi, Swaraj, Boycott and National Education, very, very important. These resolutions were passed in the 1906 Indian National Congress session at Calcutta. So 4 resolutions, very, very important. Which are they? Swadeshi, Swaraj, Boycott and National Education. Yeah. So this is the answer. Which of the following movements belong to the reformist socio-religious movements? Now there are 2 types of movements that were going on. One was the revivalist and second was the reformist. So Deoband school, Arya Samaj, Wahhabi movement as Arya Samaj, go back to Vedas. So this was the revival movement. Let us go back to something which was very much precious to our culture and let us revive that. So these are called as revivalists. But Brahmo Samaj, this was a reformist movement. Brahmo Samaj, Brahmo Sabha, which was started by Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Raja Ram Mohan Roy, which was started by him. After him, it grew into Brahmo Samaj. Any questions? Yeah. So it grew into Brahmo Samaj, and later on we see Devendranath Tagore. He is now taking the control in the Brahmo Samaj. He is handling all the Brahmo Samaj activities. He also is part of the Tattva Bodhini Sabha. And later on he invites K.C. Sen as the Acharya of the Brahmo Sabha. Now this Brahmo Sabha is now growing. And then we see the split in the Brahmo Sabha or Brahmo Samaj. So this is how the Brahmo Samaj, that is the answer. The reformist movement is Brahmo Samaj. Stages of British colonialism is given, and the features are also given in here. So we have over here the different features are given. Yes, different features are given. Mercantilist phase, the capital of Britain is invested in the colonies, which increases its public debt. So this is not the correct answer to the mercantilism capital. Industrial phase or industrial goods. The colony is treated as a supplier of raw material and market for cheap. This is in the mercantilism. Financial phase trading in various goods. So the option over here says that the use of political power to dictate terms on traders and to monopolize. So none of the option is correctly matched. So you see, in the first phase, it was about to gain monopoly with India, right? In the second phase of industrial development, we see some kind of freedom is given to the other companies as well. The monopoly of the company is now restricted, and later on we see after 1853, the company is now the market, they are growing the industries also. 58, the foreigners are given and their related facts are given. So we have Jean-Baptiste Tavernier, so elaborately discussed about diamond mines of India. So yes, this statement is correct. So Jean-Baptiste, he was a diamond merchant, a French gem merchant. Bernier was a physician. He was a physician and who treated Darasuko. So this statement is incorrectly matched. William Hawkins, he was an ambassador in the court of Jahangir. He first arrived in India to take permission from India so that they would establish a factory in India. So this statement are incorrectly matched. Only the first statement is correct. The Mughal administration, so 59 is very, very easy. Both the statement that the road says was declared illegal and minting of silver coins and making it a standard coin throughout India was one of the decisions taken by the Mughal administration to increase trade and commerce. Very easy question. Both these statements are correct over here. Qutbuddin Aibak. Related to him, what are the statements which are incorrect that is asked? You need to read the questions very, very carefully. Incorrect. Which of the statements are incorrect? Qutbuddin Aibak was the founder of the slave dynasty. So yes, he was a slave of Muhammad Ghori, but he was the one who founded this slave dynasty. He constituted a group of 40 nobles known as Chahal Gani or Chalisa. So it was not Qutbuddin Aibak, it was his Iltutmish or Iltutmish also you can call him. And Iltutmish was also the one who started the Iqtadari system, the Iqta system, that is giving land instead of giving cash. You give the portion of land to your officers, to the nobles, so that in view of the revenues they are collecting from that, some of the revenues they will keep and some of them will be given to the central government. So yeah, which of the Harappan cities? Now Harappan cities, these are very much in focus, and last year also in the examination a question on Dholavira. Question on Dholavira was asked in the examination. So here the question is, which is the port city is known for port construction? So it is Lothal. It is Lothal, which is in the Gujarat, which is in the state of Gujarat. Yeah. Consider with reference to literature in the time of Harsha. So Harshavardhan, who was the ruler in the north-south, who ruled in the Kannauj region, Harsha is credited with the Sanskrit work Chanda Kashtaka and Parvati Parinaya. Parvati Parinaya. So it was not written by Harsha, it was worked by the Bhana Bhatta, his court poet. Whereas Harsha wrote 3 novels, that is Ratnavali, Priyadarshika and Nagananda. And Nagananda, Priyadarshika, Ratnavali and Nagananda, these were written by Harsha and not by Bhana Bhatta. So both these statements are incorrect. Now again over here, Bana Bhatta, personalities are asked and their relation. He was a court poet of Harsha? Yes. Huang Sang, foreigner who visited the court of Harsha? Yes, he was. He did visit the court of Harsha, and for him, an assembly was conducted by Harsha where many people were invited for the assembly. Samudragupta, he defeated Harsha. Samudragupta did not defeat Harsha. It was the Pulakeshin II. It was Pulakeshin the second that defeated Harsha at the bank of the Narmada river. So we have, Kiranuddin, Nuh-Sifar, Tughlaq-Nama are the works of very important works. These are works of Amir Khusro, the court poet who lived in the 13th century and who is also known for Khayal, for the Ghazal. So Amir Khusro is the one who is associated with all this Tughlaq-Nama and everything. With reference to the following statements, ancient literature, consider Uttar Ramacharitra. Uttar Ramacharitra was written by Bhasa. It was not written by Bhasa, it was written by Bhavabhuti. It was written by Bhavabhuti. So the first statement is incorrect. Avesta is a Zoroastrian text. Yes, it is a Zoroastrian text, which is a collection of religious belief, practices and instruction. So this is the correct statement. Shushruta Samhita, written by Shushruta, is a book on Ayurvedic medicine. It is not on Ayurvedic, it is on surgery, various surgical elements. Shushruta Samhita. So yes, only this second statement is correct. The third statement is also incorrect. The next question is Nagara temple. So this Nagara temple, again a question on architecture, very important when we deal with architecture. Famsana buildings are broader and shorter than Latina style. Yes, this is true. The Famsana design is used for the mandapas. This is also true. You see, Latinas are this kind of a structure which tapers inwards very sharply. Whereas the Famsana, this goes till upwards and afterwards it gets towards the top. So in Latina you have a sharp turn towards the corner, so or towards the end. So this is the Latina style, and this is mostly used. The Latina style is mostly used on the Garbhagriha. जो गर्भगृह होती है ये उस पे normally होता है. And the Famsana style, which is a lot of curvy linear, which is not the pointed at the top, is used normally in mandapas. So both the statements are correct over here. Yeah, this is about doping. Then we will move directly to the question of 76. Which of the following judgments, in which of the following judgments of the Supreme Court preamble is considered an integral part of the constitution. Again, a question on preamble and its efficacy. So, Keshavananda Bharati case, yes, 1973, it was told that yes, it is part of the preamble, is an integral part of the constitution. Yeah, good afternoon, good afternoon. So I hope you are watching the video, everyone. Good afternoon. Berubari Union case. So in the Berubari Union case, it was said that yes, preamble in 1960, preamble is useful. It forms a very important source. It forms an important source for interpretations, but it is not an integral part. In the Berubari case, it was said. So in LIC case of India, again it was reiterated in 1995, I guess. Yes, LIC case of LIC India. So it was again said that yes, preamble is an integral part of the constitution. But is preamble justiciable or so it is non-justiciable and provisions are not enforceable in the court of law. ठीक है. Question number 78. Just give me a second. Just give a second. The file is stuck over here. Yeah. So 78, question number, yeah, it is on Gini coefficient, that will be covered in your economy section. Regarding 79, question number 79. With reference to the doctrine of separation of power, consider the following statement. It encourages specialization and promotes efficiency in the branches of the government. In the branches of the government, yes, it is correct. It prevents the misuse of power. Yes, that is why we have separation of power and brings in checks and balances. The Indian Constitution explicitly calls for separation of judiciary from executive. Earlier only we have seen that the Article 50 does mention about separation from judiciary and executive. It is in the DPSP, Directive Principles of State Policy. So all the statements are correct. Question number 80, with reference to subordinate courts, which of the following statements are correct? A sessions court judge is appointed by the governor after consulting the Chief Justice of the High Court of that state. This statement is correct. A session judge, when he is about to appoint, appointed by the governor after consulting with the Chief Justice of that state. Death sentence awarded by the sessions court needed to be confirmed by the High Court before execution of the statement. Yes, whenever a session court gives a judgment, and that can be any civil judgment, criminal judgment. So in that case, a highest judgment can be given as death penalty. But in case of death penalty, that has to be confirmed by the High Court. So both these statements are correct. Then question number 82. 82, with which of the following statement are correct regarding qualification of the judges of the Supreme Court? He or she should be the citizen of India? Yes. Third statement says that he or should have been advocate of a high court for at least for 10 years. Yes. This is also correct, but the second statement, he or she should be more than 30 years of age. This statement is correct, because nowhere in the Indian Constitution or any rule, any limitation is given or there is any prescription for the age. So this statement is incorrect over here. The Council of Ministers at the time of their appointment. So at the time of appointment, if they are not a part of the member, if they are not a member of parliament, so within 6 years they need to be a member of the parliament. So need not necessarily be a member of one of the houses, but must become member of one of the houses within 6 months of their appointment. So where is this article? This article is Article 75, Section 5. Another similar question to the one which we have already covered earlier, it was asked that which of the institutions take a reference from the DPSPs. Here, which of the following acts, legislations or programs have been asked that are enshrined, that certain DPSP does cover this act. So what are this? The Legal Service Act. Yes, we have in DPSP, the article mentions that free legal aid should be given to the people. So the Ancient and Historical Monuments and Archaeological Sites and Remains Act of 1951. So this is also correct. The Criminal Procedure Act, this is also correct. So all these statements are correct. With reference to the protection against preventive detention guaranteed by Article 22, which of the following is or are correct? Approval of advisory board. So the question is talking about the preventive detention. So advisory board is required to detain any person under preventive detention for more than 3 months. Yes, you can. So the preventive detention is for 3 months, but if you have to detain it for more than 3 months, then the approval of the advisory board is required for the purpose. Now the second statement, the detainee must be informed on the grounds of detention under all circumstances. It is not under all circumstances. Yes, there is a provision that he needs to be known, but the state, the detaining authorities, he is entitled to know the grounds of his detention. The state, however, may refuse to divulge the ground of detention if it is in the public interest. So this statement is very, very important. With reference to right to equality, question number 86, as enumerated in the part 3 of the Indian Constitution, consider the following statement. Article 4 guarantees identical treatment. This word identical treatment doesn't fit in here. It's about the equality, right? It's about equality. You can have a different treatment for a different section of people, but yes, equality should be the word that is there. So this statement is incorrect. Discrimination in public employment on the ground of residence is prohibited. Yes, but at times state may take some kind of provisions also. Which of the following organization is not included in the definition of the state under Article 12? So many times this has been reiterated that what are the state, the definition of state under Article 12. So LIC, yes. Oil and Natural Gas Corporation, yes. Steel Authority of India, yes. This is also a state under Article 12 of the Indian Constitution. Right, because all the executive and legislative organ of the union government, these are state. You also have executive and legislative organ of the state government, that is also called a state. All the local authorities and statutory bodies, they are also state. But when it comes to the Supreme Court, the judiciary body, we need to understand the judiciary body are not doesn't come under state. But when a judiciary body works as an executive body, at that time it can be considered as a state. As a non-judiciary or administrative body, that can be it can be considered as a state. With reference to citizenship in India, consider the following statement. The Constitution of India does not have exclusive provisions related to who can be citizen of India post its commencement. Yes, it does not have exclusive provisions. There are articles that are mentioned over here, but it doesn't prescribe a permanent provisions related to it, right? There are categories that are mentioned, but not an exclusive provision. Now, the second statement says that only Parliament can make laws regulating citizenship. Yes, only Parliament has the right to make a law. And Citizen Amendment Act of 2019 is not applicable to the 6th schedule areas. That is, you have Assam, you have Meghalaya, Mizoram, and the Tripura districts where this 2019 Citizenship Amendment Act does not apply. Now, the question number 90. Comparing the political systems of India and USA. Consider the following statements and which are incorrect. Question here is asking about incorrect statements. So, states are proportionally represented in both USA and India in the upper house of the legislature. For example, in India, that is Rajya Sabha. So, are they proportionally represented? In India, they are proportionally represented, but in the United States of America, they are equally represented, not proportionally. Every state contributes, or there are two members who does represent the states in the upper house. Dual citizenship is offered in India. No, India has a single citizenship. So both the statements are incorrect. But here you were asked that which of the statements are incorrect. So both the statements are incorrect. So the answer is C. 91 is a very easy question. The constitution is organic law of the land and demarcates the responsibilities of the organs of the state. Yes, various categories are mentioned, part 1, part 2, part 3, where it does demarcates the responsibilities of the organs of the state. Judiciary, legislative, executive, there are demarcations that are being made. So yes, and it is the fundamental law of the land. So this statement is correct. Unwritten constitution constitutes laws made by parliament only. So this is not correct. Only nahi hota hai. There are few of the laws or few of the provisions that are made by conventions too. So this statement is incorrect. Rigid constitutions cannot be amended. This is incorrect. Rigid constitutions can be amended in the form of a special majority, for example. So special provisions are there to amend this rigid constitution. 92. In the context of the republic political system, which of the following statements are incorrect? It means that the head of the state is always elected. Yes, you are talking here about the republic, so not the monarchy. So this statement is correct. It always had a parliamentary form of government. This is not correct. It may have different form of government also. It means that the people are politically sovereign. Yes, people are politically sovereign, and it indicates absence of any privileged class. So this statement is also correct. So the answer to this would be incorrect is asked. So the second statement is incorrect. So our answer is 2 only. So yes, B is the correct answer. So here we finish our history and polity questions. Next would be your economy section that will be covered. Just give us a second. We will again begin.
Okay. Thank you for reminding me. Okay. Hope I'm audible now. Okay. Hope I'm audible now. Is it? Okay. Hope I'm audible now. Okay. So we were discussing question number 17 and yeah. So which of the following conventions of ILO has not been ratified? As we said that 1 and 3 was almost like no-brainer. Okay, because this has been in news consistently that India have ratified these two things a couple of years back, probably in 2017 around. Okay, but the trap was statement number 2, freedom of association and protection of right to organized convention. On the face of it, it looks like India, being a liberal democracy, must have ratified this. But as it turns out, India is yet to ratify this one. Okay, so ILO have total of 8 core conventions. Okay, and out of 8, India have already ratified 6 conventions, and 2 conventions is yet to be ratified. Now, the wise thing to do is not to focus on those 6 conventions which India has already ratified, but focus on the 2 conventions which India have not yet ratified. Okay, so here we have these 2 conventions which India have not yet ratified: freedom of association and protection of right to organized, and the right to organize and collective bargain convention. India have not ratified. Again, another way to remember this is right to organize is there in both. So just to use it as a tool to remember, whenever you see there is right to organize in an ILO convention, India have not ratified that convention. Okay, that's a shortcut you can use to keep it in your mind. Okay, question number 18. Consider the following statements about Index of Industrial Production Data, IIP. Now, the first statement is IIP index is computed and published by CSO on monthly basis. Okay. So there are 2 facts being asked. Then CSO computes and publishes it, and another on monthly basis. Okay. As it happens, this is correct statement, but here we have information that we know that recently government have combined NSSO and CSO and formed a new organization called National Statistical Organization. Okay, so right now we have National Statistical Organization under Ministry of Statistics. Now keep this in mind that had the statement been the IIP index is computed and published by NSO, then that also would have been correct. Okay, so be careful on this. So this is also, so statement number 1 is correct, and indeed it is published on monthly basis. This is correct. Second, the 8 core industries comprise over half of the weight of items included in Index of Industrial Production. Now we know that 8 core sector industries comprises how much? They comprises about 40.27%. Okay, 8 core sector industries comprises about 40.27%, which is of course less than 50%. So this is incorrect statement. Okay, and you should know some more information about IIP. You can go and search for it. Which core sector industry have highest weight in IIP? Okay, so it is like refinery products. Okay, and then which core sector industry have least weight? Okay, least weight have cement. Okay, you don't have to remember the percentage contribution in IIP, but at least you should know which is highest and least. Okay, and what is the base year for IIP? Okay, go search for it. What is the base year for IIP, and whether the base year for IIP is same as base year for GDP and other inflation measures, or is it different? Okay, so if you will read it in this manner, if you will Google it in this manner, with the help of one question, many of you will be able to devise many more concepts. Okay, question number 19, with reference to WTO, consider the following statement. Now WTO is dialing of UPSC. Okay, almost every year. Okay, there is a question from WTO. Okay, I used the word almost. Okay, so yeah, statement number first, special and differential treatment provisions give developing countries a special right which are not available to developed countries. Okay, so this is a straightforward question. This is correct. Okay, if you just know the meaning of a special and differential treatment, then it means that it must be giving differential treatment to somebody, and that treatment will not be given to somebody. So which are not available to developed countries, it is available to developing and it is available to developing and least developed countries. Okay, so one is correct. Second, all special and differential treatment provisions were declared as an integral part of WTO agreement in Doha Declaration. Now here we had two things. One, all, and another, Doha Declaration. Two things were to be tested in this. So yes, all special and differential treatment provisions were declared. Okay, be very careful, because normally there is a talk that if there is an extreme word, if there is an extreme word used in a question paper, then it is most probably incorrect. But as it happened in this case, all special and differential treatment provisions indeed is included. Okay, so this is correct in Doha Declaration. Okay, so this was the main fact which was to be tested. So it's right. And Doha Declaration was in which year? 2001. Okay, and what all other things happened in Doha Declaration? Okay, and what all other declarations have been there in WTO? Okay, so you have to know these things from this one question only. You can revise all these concepts with the help of this one question. Third was important, interesting. Member countries announce for themselves whether they are developing countries. Okay, now this was a trap. If you don't know, it seems to be difficult to believe that member countries will announce for themselves that they are developing. But as it happens that developing there are no rules for a country to classify other country as a developing country. The country themselves announce themselves. Of course, if you do not agree with that, if one country do not agree with that, then they can go and challenge it. But there is no rule for this. Okay, so this was a bit counterintuitive information. Okay, so the take home message is, whenever you see a counterintuitive message while reading anything or while revising anything, so make note of it. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3. All three statements are correct. And WTO is as I told, it's a darling topic. You have to remember it. Consider the following statement with reference to regional rural banks, RRB. Okay, now okay, here first statement, RRB are jointly owned by Government of India, sponsor bank, and concerned state government bank. Okay, here in this, at times it may so happen that you will not be knowing all three stakeholders in RRB. Okay, maybe you know any two of this. Maybe you may argue that RRB, if you don't know, then you may tend to argue that RRB, since there is regional, then maybe Government of India will not have a stake in RRB. So maybe a sponsor bank and concerned bank only is correct. You may tend to think on that line. But if you will see option number 2, statement number 2, statement number 2 says that RRBs are a type of rural cooperative banks. Okay, now you know that cooperative banks, who are the owners of cooperative banks, who are the stakeholders in cooperative banks, their customers only are owners of cooperative banks. Okay, so you know that in case of RRB, at least there are some owner, customers are not the owner. So statement number 2 is incorrect. Okay, and the moment you could figure out that statement number 2 is incorrect, this was the beauty, that you could have arrived at this, that 1 and 3 only is correct. Okay, so again, this question was to test your presence of mind, whether you are thinking on this line or not. Let's see statement number 3. RRB may have branches set up for urban cooperatives, and the area of cooperation may include urban areas. You can see it's a regional rural bank, and can it have operations in urban areas or not? Again, this was a counterintuitive information that RRB can have branch in urban areas also, even though rural is there in its name only. Okay, so 3 was a counterintuitive information, but it was the correct information. So 1 and 3 only is correct. Again, I am emphasizing this, that whenever you see any counterintuitive information, then focus extra information on that. Okay. Now let's come to question number 21. Consider the following statement about balance of payment. Now this was largely easy question. So first statement is only definition of balance of payment. Okay, so balance of payment of a country is a systematic record of all its economic transactions with outside world for a specific period. Again, be very careful. Here we have an extreme word all used, but yet it is correct. Okay. So this is statement number 1 is correct. It's basic definition of balance of payment. Second, Central Bank of the country prepares BOP in their own currency as per format set by the IMF. See, here we have in this one statement, we are testing you for 3 facts. Central Bank of the country prepares BOP. Now you know that RBI prepares BOP, so this is correct. In their own currency is fact number 2, and format set by IMF is fact number 3. Okay, so format set by IMF, yes, for uniformity, so that all countries will have BOP prepared in same format. Okay, and again prepares BOP in their own currency. Again, for the sake of uniformity, so that BOP of the different countries can be compared, BOP is prepared in terms of US dollar. Okay, not in their own currency. Okay, so if you can Google India's BOP RBI, so you will have that, and you will see that India's BOP is also prepared in dollar, not in rupees. Okay, you can convert it in rupee according to the prevailing exchange rate, but the BOP is prepared in dollar itself. Okay, so this is about balance of payment, this question. So what is correct answer? 2 is incorrect, so 1 only is correct. Okay, so okay, let's move to question number 22. Now question number 22, which of the following are the features of certificate of deposit? Okay, now you know that certificate of deposit is a money market instrument. Okay, now the first statement, it is an unsecured money market instrument. We have here, you are being tested for 2 things. One, is it secured or unsecured? So it is unsecured. This you have to know that whether you need a collateral or not. So it's unsecured money market instrument. Yes, it is not a capital market instrument. It is a short-term instrument. It is a money market instrument. So 1 is correct statement. Statement number 2, issue of CD is regulated by Security and Exchange Board of India. Okay, now this is incorrect statement. Okay, so here there was a mistake in question paper. Okay, it should have been 1 only. Okay, so 2 is incorrect. CD is regulated by Reserve Bank of India. Okay, this is a money market instrument. It's regulated by Reserve Bank of India. Third, all scheduled commercial banks can issue CD. Okay, again, now this is extreme statement again, all commercial banks, and we know that, okay, this is incorrect. Okay, because RRB and local area bank, two commercial banks, 2 scheduled commercial banks, regional rural bank and local area bank, they too cannot issue CD. So statement number 3 is incorrect. Finally, we have a extreme statement which is incorrect. Okay, see, in a real exam, do not blindly go for this thing. Okay, do not blindly mark a statement as correct or incorrect just on the basis of extreme statement. Okay, you should inculcate this habit of testing extreme statements as correct or incorrect during your preparation time only, so that in exam hall you will be better prepared to judge such statements. Okay, so answer is 1 only. Question number 22, answer is 1 only. Be very careful. So question number 23, which of the following can be the reasons for increase in inflation? Now you are having this type of question in every test. Okay, and that's because UPSC loves this type of question. Okay, which of the following can be reason for increase in inflation? Okay, so inflation will increase if there will be increase in money supply in the economy, or if there will be increase in demand in the economy. isn't it? So increase in consumerism in society. Of course, if there will be increase in consumerism, then there will be increase in demand. So one must be correct. Then supply chain disruption. Okay, supply chain disruption. If there will be supply chain disruption, then amount of goods available in the market will be less. Okay, as it happened recently in case of semiconductors, because of disruption in supply of semiconductor, all consumer goods which used semiconductors were low in demand, low in supply. Okay, so if something is low in supply, that will also increase inflation. Then increase in money supply in the economy. This is so very basic, that if money supply in economy will increase, then inflation will increase. So answer will be 1, 2, 3. Be very careful and be very clear with these concepts, because UPSC loves to ask this type of conceptual question. Question number 24. Okay, all venture capital funds in India are promoted by the government. Okay, again here you have all here. Okay, all venture capital funds in India are promoted by the government. Okay. Now, if you know that what is venture capital fund, you can get it correct, okay, without much problem, because venture capital funds are private equity. Okay. So it's like private individuals, they collect their money, they give it to, they give their money to venture capital funds, and then they invest that in startups or emerging corporates who have high potential of growth. Okay, so statement number 1 is incorrect. Are promoted by the government? No, it's not promoted by the government. It is a private equity fund. Okay, statement number 2. In addition to capital, venture capitalists provide managerial and technical support to assist firms. Okay, now statement number 2 is also correct. Even if you did not knew that it is correct, there is a high chance that you could have said that this is correct. Okay, because if somebody is investing if somebody is investing in a startup on long-term basis, then they will also try to provide managerial and technical support. As please check it. Okay, Lost Soul, please check it. So as far as I am concerned, RBI regulates CD. Okay, so please check it. Okay, now, okay, so if you know the difference between GDP and if you know the difference between FDI and FII, one of the differences, since FDI is a long-term thing, it also provides managerial and technical support. So similarly, venture capital provides this. Statement number 3. Venture capital is regulated by the Reserve Bank of India. Yes, this is incorrect. You are right. You are right, Lost Soul, that venture capital is not regulated by Reserve Bank of India. Venture capital is which type of instrument? It is a capital instrument, long-term instrument. It is not money market instrument. It is a long-term instrument. So statement number 3 must be incorrect. Okay, it is regulated by SEBI. Yes, Lost Soul. Yes, you are right. I thought you are talking about the question on CD. Okay. Yes, you are right. You are right. So 2 only is the correct answer. Right. Let's come to question number 25. Consider the following statement with regard to incremental capital output ratio. Okay. Now, in this one, let's suppose that you don't know this term. Okay. Let's suppose that you came across this term first time in exam hall only. That incremental capital output ratio. So at least you can see that it is something like this: capital on output. Okay, it is ratio of capital and output. Okay, you may not be knowing exactly, but you know that it is capital upon output. Now let's see statement number 2. Low ICOR implies a more efficient economy. Okay, low ICOR means what? There is low capital but high output, isn't it? In case of low ICOR. So if there is low capital but high output, if you are investing less but you are getting more in return, that means it is a more efficient economy. So statement number 2 will anyway be correct. Okay, so the moment you say that statement number 2 is correct, you are left with two options, 50-50 scenario. Okay, so this you should be you should have been able to do it even without knowing this exact term. Okay, now here, if you don't know exact term, you will have to take your chances. It is the ratio of annual investment to annual increase in GDP. This also you might have guessed by looking at the name, incremental capital output ratio. But again, it is easy to say post facto, but when you are in exam hall, you might have been in two mind. Okay, but at least doing 50-50 was easy. Here answer is both 1 and 2. Okay, now let's move to question number 30 around. 30 should be economy. We are discussing economy questions here. Okay. So yes, it's 30. Question number 30. So question number 30, who among the following are likely beneficiaries of inflation? Who are likely beneficiaries? What happens in inflation? Okay, we know that in case of inflation, money loses its purchasing power. So whosoever had fixed income will lose in case of inflation, right? So whosoever has fixed income. Now bondholders, you know that bond pays fixed interest rate. So bondholder had fixed income, so they will lose. Saving account holders, again, if you are putting your money in saving account, you will get fixed interest rate return. Okay, so you will also lose, because even though in nominal term you will get same money, but that money will, in real terms, that money will lose its purchasing power because of inflation. So this is also incorrect. Then borrowers who took loan at fixed interest rate. Now here, be very careful. Here the question statement says that borrowers who took loan, okay, not lenders. Lenders at fixed loan will be losing it, because lenders are same as saving account holders. Okay, because lenders are, you are in case of saving account holder, you are the lender, so you will be losing. But the borrower gains in case of inflation, because in the real term they will have to return less money in times of inflation. Okay, so and the question is, which of the following are likely beneficiaries? So only beneficiary is borrower who took loan at fixed interest rate. Be very careful, fixed interest rate. Had the interest rate been indexed with inflation, then this would not have been the case. Okay. Now question number 39. What does the term angel investor means in economics? Okay. So we have already discussed venture capital. Now here we have angel investor. What is the difference between venture capital and angel investor? You know, angel investor is an angel investor. The word in itself says that it is high net worth individual. Angel investor. It is not a group of people who are putting money and investing. So only one investor. So investor providing long-term startup capital to new entrepreneurs. Okay. Both angel investor and venture capital roughly does the same thing, but only the source of money is different. So yeah, B is correct. Okay, and angel investor is a capital account, angel investor is a money market instrument or capital market instrument. Okay, so this statement might have been made incorrect by saying that it's a angel investor invests in say money market instrument. Then this statement would have been incorrect. Now question number 32, this one of the most easy questions of this whole test. Which of the following best describe the term closed economy? Okay, so it's easy to say just directly, an economy in which neither export or import takes place, that is closed economy. Okay, that economy that the borders of the country is closed for any import or export. Okay, let's move on from here. Now we'll move to question number 39. Question number 39 is economy question. Okay. Again, a question on fundamentals, monetary policy. Which of the following steps will not be taken by the RBI if it decides to adopt an expansionist monetary policy? Okay, as a habit, make it your habit to underline or circle the critical terms. Okay, so which of the following steps will not be taken by RBI if it decides to adopt an expansionist monetary policy? Okay. Now hope it is visible to you all. Okay. So will not be taken if it decides to expansionist monetary policy. Expansionist monetary policy means either RBI will take any such action which will allow bank to lend more. Okay. So cut bank rate and cash reserve ratio. Yes, it will leave bank with more capital. This is okay. Okay, so hope it is visible to you all now. Okay, so I was asked by my team members that I need to zoom it. Okay, so expansionist monetary policy means bank will have to put more money in the economy, and bank will put more money in the economy only if either they have more money or they can take money from somewhere at low interest rate. So cutting bank rate and cash reserve ratio will leave bank with more money. Okay, so they can lend more. One is correct. Then increasing marginal standing facility rate. If there will be increase in marginal standing facility rate, then bank will have to take money at higher rate. Okay, then again this means that bank will lend less. So 2 is correct. Decrease SLR. Again, if RBI will decrease SLR, then again banks will have more money to lend and increase the reverse repo. So this is 2 and 4. There is increase. Again, if there will be increase in reverse repo, then banks will have incentive to park their money with RBI because they will be getting more money, higher rate there at lower risk. So 2 and 4 is incorrect. 1 and 3 all okay. But the question is asking which of the following steps will not be taken. So 2 and 4 only are correct answer. Be very careful whenever this note is there. Okay, so now we'll directly go to question number 77. That will be an economy question. Okay, 77. Yes, now we are, thank God. Okay, question number 77. Consider the following statement with reference to functions of money. Okay, be very careful nowadays. UPSC is asking questions like this, questions on very fundamental concepts. So, with reference to function of money, see statement number 1. Money as a medium of exchange has separated the act of sale and purchase. Okay, now indeed in times of barter trade, if you want to buy something, you also had to sell something in return. Only then you will be able to buy it. But money as a medium of exchange has separated this. Okay, that means if you want to buy a smartphone, you don't have to sell another smartphone to buy it. Okay, so 1 is correct. It helps in shifting the purchasing power from present to future. Okay, of course you can keep your money in your home, or you can park your money in bank, and later on you can get it back and purchase it. Okay, so it helps in shifting purchasing power from present to future. Okay, suppose you will say, suppose in times of barter it would have been very difficult to preserve this. Suppose you are a milkman, then you cannot preserve your milk for 1 year and then send it. Okay, in absence of technology. It acts as a standard for making future payments. That means money helps in facilitating loan giving. Okay, how it helps in facilitating loan giving? Because it is easy to calculate the principal and it is easy to calculate the interest rate, which you will get at some future time. Okay, in absence of money, it was very difficult job to calculate how much money they will have, how much goods they will have to return in future. Okay, so money also acts as a standard of making future payment. So 1, 2, 3 is correct answer. Okay. Now question number 78. So I think this is the last question of economy. Okay, consider the following statement regarding Gini coefficient. Now you know the okay. Before we look at the statements, you know that Gini coefficient is measure of inequality. Okay, and 0 means, if Gini coefficient is 0, that means perfect equality or perfect inequality. Okay, so it means perfect. 0 means perfect equality and 1 means perfect inequality, right? So now read this. The Gini coefficient of wealth in India has decreased in last year, showing an increase in inequality. Now this was a trap. This was a trap question, because if you will see second part of the statement, it's a common knowledge that inequality in India is increasing. Okay, so this part is correct, but is it reflecting in decrease in Gini coefficient? You know that Gini coefficient means 0 means perfect equality and 1 is perfect inequality. So if Gini coefficient will decrease, that means equality will be progressively increasing. Okay, so had there been increased, then this statement would have been correct. Okay, so when Gini coefficient increases, then there is increase in inequality. So one is incorrect. It is derived from the Lorentz curve. Yes, Gini coefficient is derived from the Lorentz curve, right? You know Lorentz curve. Lorentz curve also gives you idea about the distribution of income in the society. Okay, so Lorentz curve is cumulative percentage population on X, that what percent of population have money, and on Y, cumulative percentage income. Okay, and in Lorentz curve, if there is this line, then it is called perfect equality line, or if the curve will go like this, that means there will be increase in inequality. Okay, so Lorentz curve and Gini coefficient are related. Okay, so yeah, that was about the economy portion. Now Karuna madam will discuss questions of science and tech, environment and geography. Okay.
Hello, am I audible? Hello, hello, hello. क्या आप हमें देख और सुन सकते हैं? Hello. All right, hello students. My name is Karuna Mishra and I will be taking the questions from Science and Technology, Environment and Ecology and Geography. All right. So all right, great. So the question paper actually starts with the questions from Environment and Science. Let us have a quick look at that. The first question says, the isotope is the PDF available on the site or app? Have you given this question paper? I think I've zoomed out. You can see. I'll request to make it available on the site. All right. So Lost Soul, I'm pretty sure that is the name. I'll ask them to give it on the PDF. So this question, I think, is very easy. Isotope of uranium is used as nuclear fuel. You basically use uranium 235 and 238. So far, you are having the fission reactors, and fission reactors basically are very much stable when you use U235. U238 is also used in the nuclear reactor. So yes, this is an absolutely correct statement. Second, goiter treatment involves isotope of iodine. So iodine, yes, okay. So yes, it will be made available. It will be made available on the site. So I think that answers your question. All right. The isotope of iodine, which is a halogen. Iodine is a gas which comes from the inert gases. It remains in the stable condition, but then an isotope of iodine is actually used for the treatment of goiter, and not just goiter. Isotopes of iodine are now being used in multiple diseases. In fact, here the chemical element iodine basically has the atomic number 53, which is the stable configuration of iodine, but it is the iodine 131 which is used for the medical purposes. All right. Now, coming to the next question, question number 2. Depending upon the productivity. So if this is basically talking about primary productivity, what exactly is primary productivity? Primary productivity has two things which you need to keep in mind. One is the incoming sunlight and how the autotrophs or the green plants are going to use these sunlight through the process of photosynthesis to make food or to make carbohydrates. So if I read the question, it says that it is accumulation at consumer level. It does not make any sense. This could be an example of bioaccumulation. Second, net primary productivity, deduction of energy lost in respiration from gross primary productivity, and gross is solar energy trapped by the photosynthesis. Anybody, what do you think should be the answer to this? Anybody? Whenever you have the term net, forget about environment. Whenever the term is net related to productivity, you basically remove the losses. So I think that is making sense here also, that you are removing the losses here, which says that the net primary productivity is basically the gross primary productivity, which is what? Which is trapping of solar energy by the autotrophs through the process of photosynthesis, and minus the energy lost by respiration. So that is the net energy. All right. Coming to question number 3, very quickly, alpha diversity. How many of you remember the different types of diversity? When you start your biodiversity topic, you start with different types of biodiversity. You have alpha, you have beta, you have gamma. Now, biodiversity basically has the concept of species richness and species evenness. Do we know about these two concepts? If you know about these two concepts, this question becomes extremely easy. Species richness and species evenness. Anybody who can tell me in the comment section very quickly, what do you understand by these two things? Now, coming to the question, alpha biodiversity refers to, as it is mentioned here, the answer is given. But let us look at the statement, diversity within a particular area or ecosystem. Then you have comparison of diversity between ecosystem. This is beta actually. This is the definition of beta diversity. What is beta diversity? Beta is the comparison part. The overall diversity within a particular region is the alpha diversity. Then the overall diversity for different ecosystems within a region and proportion of species given at different sites. So as we know that option A is the correct option. Gamma diversity actually is the overall diversity of for different ecosystems over the total geographical landscape, over the total geographical landscape or area. So now we see that this is basically the definition of gamma, this is alpha, this is beta. Now coming to the fourth question, which talks about the nitrogen cycle. Now there are three cycles when it comes to biogeochemical cycles which are extremely important. Multiple times questions have been asked. You have the carbon cycle, you have the nitrogen cycle, and you have the phosphorus cycle. If possible, you should also try to read the sulfur and the methane cycle. Alright, so when it comes to nitrogen cycle, we know that nitrogen is the most abundant element which is present on earth, and this abundant element, though extremely important for the plant growth, you have NPK fertilizers, right? In NPK, N stands for nitrogen, right? So NPK fertilizers which are used extremely for the growth perspective for the plants, but even though nitrogen, which is the most abundant element, is not directly used by the plants, for that you need the process called as nitrogen fixation. So here, with respect to nitrogen cycle, which of the process is by which nitrogen is converted into ammonia, and the answer is nitrogen fixation, because the gaseous form of nitrogen cannot be used for the agricultural and even for the natural processes. In the PDF, we have given the different definition of denitrification, ammonification, etc. Now coming to question number 5. Question number 5 says, with reference to ecological productivity, consider the following statement: degree of productivity and areas. Low ecological productivity, tropical, temperate, shallow water areas. High productivity, shallow lakes. Intermediate productivity, deep ocean. You have to see which are incorrectly matched. Incorrectly. Moist forest in the tropical and temperate region are one of the most highly productive regions with one of the highest biodiversity. So this cannot be true. So the answer is 1, 2, 3. High ecological productivity in shallow lakes, grasslands, farmlands. Now you might have a little doubt here, because here the concept of ecotone comes into picture, because ecotones generally have high productivity. So here, if there is a doubt, it is understandable. Now coming to next question. In succession, you should know the 6 types of successions. You have the primary succession, you have the secondary succession, then you have the autogenic succession, allogenic succession, then you have autotrophic succession and heterotrophic succession. Now here auto means on its own, allo. Whenever you hear the term allo, let's say allopathy, right? Allo is which does not involve the natural ingredients or the natural ecosystem or the natural products of ecosystem. So these are actually oppositely marked. Autogenic succession are brought about by the living inhabitants of the community, whereas allogenic are brought about by the outside forces. Bioconcentration is another word for bioaccumulation. So it occurs within the trophic level when an organism absorbs toxic material. So if the question comes which of these are correctly matched, the answer is going to be 3 only. Coming to question number 7, I think it is extremely easy. Here it is very easy to identify that nectins are actually the swimmers and benthos are the organisms which are attached to the bottom sediment. Rest, both the first and second statements are absolutely correct. If anyone has any doubt, please reach out to us. Please let me know in the comment section. Now, coming to the next question, which says that ecotone is basically the zone of transition between ecosystems and the functional unit of zone of transition between the ecosystems, and functional unit of biosphere is environment, surroundings of the organism is ecosystem, and niche is the unique functional role of a species. Now here you have to see which are correctly matched. So yes, ecotone is the zone of tension, zone of transition, the area which shows edge effect in edge species, so this is correct. These are interchanged. It is actually the environment which is the surrounding, and ecosystem is the functional unit of biosphere. So these two are not correctly matched. This is also correctly matched. The answer should be 1 and 4. The answer should be 1 and 4. Now coming to the next question. Now coming to the science and tech portion, which says that with respect to darknet, answer the following questions. It says it can be accessed through traditional search engines like Google or normal browsers. First statement is wrong. Darknet is called, or dark web are called dark because they are not accessible to through your conventional search engines. Next, there are concerns over its anonymity. Absolutely correct. The content on darknet is encrypted and requires specific browsers to access those pages. The two statements are correct, hence 2 and 3 are the correct options. Now coming to question number 10, consider the following statements about neutrinos. You might get confused here. Neutrino is a tiny particle and are electrically neutral. I think this is a self-explanatory statement. Neutrinos are considered to be massless and chargeless tiny particles. They are part of the cosmic rays. They are part of the rays which are bombarded by solar radiations. So the first statement is absolutely correct. Neutrinos are the most abundant particles. No, it is the photons, and then neutrinos are the most abundant particle. So this is not correct. Neutrinos are a part of atom. No, neutrinos are not part of the atom. In fact, atoms are made up of the nucleus and the electrons, and which are further divided into quarks. So these two statements are incorrect. Neutrinos cannot be produced in the lab. Now this is where you need to see whether this statement is correct or not. So yes, which of these statements are correct? Only first, neutrinos cannot be produced in the lab. Now, which of the following phenomena are caused due to refraction? Again, extremely easy question. I hope there was no doubt in this question. Optical illusions like mirages and looning, yes, they are exactly the examples of the refraction of light, formation of rainbow, in which the dispersion, the difference in the dispersion of light is the result of rainbow, and sun looking in the oval shape. Just remember, if there is any deviation from the standard, for example, white light is the standard, the deviation is the rainbow. Sun having the circular shape is the standard. If it is having any other shape, it is a deviation. If it is having different color, it is a deviation. Desert, sand, this is normal, but if there is a deviation, mirage, all of this are nothing but the examples of refraction. Refraction of light creates these kind of illusions by creating shadows, etc. So yes, all of these are correct, hence the answer is 1, 2 and 3. Now coming to the next question, the capacity of doing work developed in a body by the virtue of its position is known as kinetic energy, whereas the second statement says that energy possessed by an object or a particle because of its motion is called, I think it is very easy, it has been interchanged. This is the definition of potential energy and this is the definition of kinetic energy. First statement, they are saying which of the statements are correct. So these are incorrect statements. Next, a flying aeroplane possesses only potential energy and not kinetic. No, it is both. And dynamo is based on the principle of converting mechanical energy into electrical energy. So only fourth statement is correct. The rest three statements are incorrect. Which of these are bacterial diseases? Again, very easy. Leprosy and pertussis, both are bacterial diseases. You need to know different diseases and their causing microorganism. Question 14 says, consider the following statement with respect to National Air Quality Index, NAQI. It says it classifies the quality of air into 8 categories and it monitors 6 pollutants. It is the other way round. The classification is into 6 categories, right? Starting from severe to very good, and it actually monitors 8 pollutants. Third statement is correct, which says that health impact of different categories and pollutants have been suggested. That is correct. This is the explanation which is also given here. The 8 pollutants include particulate matter 10, particulate matter 2.5, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, O3 or ozone, ammonia and lead. What is to be noted here is that it does not have carbon dioxide as one of the monitor or one of the 8 pollutants which are being monitored. Coming to the next question, it says that consider the following statement: algae and fungi are in the division of Bryophyta. The excretory system and annelids consists of tubes and nephridia. Cell wall of fungi is composed of chitin. Now here, if you have the understanding of plant and animal kingdom, then it will be very easy for you to understand here. Next question is, now this is an important question. Recombinant DNA is used to produce insulin, presence of HIV. This is ELISA test. Then to produce genetically modified crops, gene therapy. A recombinant DNA technique is used for all of these 4 uses when it comes to agriculture, medicine, etc. Production of insulin was the first major achievement of use of rDNA technique in the medical field. All right, I think these are all the science and technology questions and environment and ecology questions. Then you have questions from 93. Questions from 93. If anyone has any doubt so far, please let me know. Question number 93 says that which of the following forest types in India you need to arrange in the decreasing order. Now here if you see the tropical semi-evergreen, tropical dry deciduous, tropical moist deciduous and wet evergreen. Always remember, in India it is the deciduous forests which dominate. So the most abundant is my dry deciduous forest, followed by moist deciduous forest, then we have the semi-evergreen forest, and then we have the tropical wet evergreen forest, which is limited only to the Western Ghats, Andaman and Nicobar Islands and some areas of Northeast. This has been given. This is the percentage of total area of the different types of forests. Here also you can see it is the moist, dry, wet and semi-evergreen. Now coming to the next question, which says that consider the following statement with respect to arid soils. Now these soil contains excessive humus and organic matter. Since these are arid soil, they cannot have a lot of humus because that is basically what makes the soil fertile. These soils are infertile soils. So first statement cannot be correct. Lower horizons of these soils are occupied by conquered layers. Yes, that is true. Even if you start digging the soil, let's say in the Chambal Valley region or the regions of interiors of Andhra Pradesh, you will see that you do not have very fine soil in the interior layers. So yes, statement 2 is correct. Coming to the next statement, next question. Now, This is, I think, a very factual question, which is about the national waterways. These are the important national waterways. These are the river systems, and these are the routes. The most prominent one is the National Waterway 1, which is between Prayagraj to Haldia in West Bengal. It involves Ganga River, Bhagirathi and Hooghly River. These are the states. Next, very important and also called as the lifeline of Brahmaputra, or lifeline of the northeast region, is the Brahmaputra National Waterway, which has Brahmaputra River as the main channel, starting from Sadia to Dhubri, and the state covered is Assam. Then the National Waterway 3 is in the Kerala region between Kottapuram to Kul. Now coming to the next question, which says, consider the following pairs: source and origin. I think this is these are the types of questions which are repeatedly asked. For example, Satluj River originates from Rakas or Rakshas. There are different books which says that. Son River through Amarkantak, and Kaveri River to Brahmagiri. All of these are correctly matched. You should have in your notebooks these tables in which the major rivers and their origin are being marked. Coming to question number 97, which says that which of the following rivers originate from Maikal range near Amarkantak plateau. Now Amarkantak plateau is known for radial drainage. Now what do I understand by radial drainage? Radial drainage is, if this is my plateau region, multiple rivers in multiple directions are originating, and Amarkantak plateau is one such radial drainage origin point from where different rivers originate. So here Narmada is a river that originates from Amarkantak plateau. Son is another river which originates from this plateau, and you have to give me two more rivers if possible. Try to find out what are the other rivers which originate from these regions. Ghaggar is an Himalayan river. Tapi originates from Baitul plateau, and Godavari originates in Maharashtra. We know that Amarkantak plateau is on the boundary of Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. Coming to 98th question, which says that which of the following factors contribute to the formation of hot desert? The rain bearing trade winds blow offshore, presence of warm ocean currents on the western coast, presence of high pressure condition. If there are warm ocean currents, it cannot be a high pressure condition. With warm ocean currents, it is synonymous to low pressure conditions, which brings rain. So this cannot be true. This is true. Offshore trade winds. Offshore trade winds and onshore trade winds. Whenever there are onshore trade winds, they are rain bearing winds. Offshore trade winds do not cause rainfall. So 1 and 3 are correct. Second statement is wrong. Coming to the second last question, which says that consider the following grasslands, which are tropical grasslands. Savannas, of course, are the classic example of tropical grassland. This is true. This is true. This is Wales actually. The spelling is wrong here. Which is in South Africa. This is a temperate grassland, followed by Downs, which is also a temperate grassland. So 1 and 2 are the correct statement. And the last question is, consider the following statement with reference to conventions. The heat is transmitted with the help convection. We know that convection, conduction, and advection are the three processes which are involved when you are trying to study the rainfall. So with respect to convection or the convectional rainfall, what is convectional rainfall? Let's say this area is getting heated up for a very long time. This creates low pressure area here. This creates low pressure area conditions. Now what happens in the low pressure area condition? In the low pressure area, the wind or the air gets heated up, it becomes light, it starts rising up, and once the wind starts rising up, it leads to cloud formation. and hence results in convectional rainfalls. So let us look at these statements here. The heat is transmitted with the help of vertical currents of air due to the contact with warmer surface of earth. I think it makes sense. Second, the convective transfer of energy is confined only to the troposphere. Yes, you have to understand all the major climatic events that occur on earth, whether it is cloud formation, whether it is cyclone formation, all of it is limited only to the troposphere. Your troposphere generally is considered to be, if it is equator, if it is pole, 8 to 18 kilometers. This is the region in which the entire climatic activities are going to take place. So these were the important questions from the science and technology, environment, ecology and geography. If you have any doubts, if you want to ask any question, please let me know. Please let me know if anyone has any doubt, or else we can complete the test discussion. Alright, I think so. As I've been told, you will be given the PDF of this question paper on the site. You can download from there. You can go through the solutions of that, and if you find any reason or any discrepancy, or if you have any doubt regarding it, please do reach out to us. Thank you very much. You've been a wonderful class.